It's been a long time since I've made a Vampire Diaries video on this channel, so I thought, why not take a look at the Mikaelson family, better known as the originals, and rank them all from weakest to strongest, in addition to including vampires who later became originals or had an equal level of power to the Mikaelsons after undergoing the same spell. The Mikaelsons and Co. Can we say that? Just called the later made originals Co? Yeah, okay. Anyway, the Mikaelsons are basically responsible for the existence of all vampires across the world, and each individual vampire is linked back to each sibling, depending on who made who. These originals are the most powerful vampires on the planet, cannot be killed by any practical means, and can basically do whatever the hell they want without any consequence from the supernatural world. So I decided to rank them all 9 original vampires. Anyway, let's get on to the list. In at number 9 we have the mommy's boy Finn. Finn always wanted to do what was best for the family, especially when it came to pleasing his mother, even if it required the death of all his siblings, including himself, and the total destruction of the vampire race. He didn't really like what he became shortly after he was turned into a vampire. He refrained from using his powers as much as he could, and was forced into captivity for close to 900 years by his brother Klaus when he went against the latter's plans. Finn had all the strengths of his siblings, but because he never really had such ambitions to achieve power, he was more of a humble original. He was willing to die, as I said, if it meant the end of all vampires. I don't think anything made him happier when he returned to the world of the living than returning in a body that was not vampiric. Finn, although placing rather low on this list, is still an extremely powerful original, but impacted the story more as a human witch in the originals series. Cole comes in at number 8, and you know something guys, when it comes to this ranking, there's not too much between the vampires that follow. They are very similar in power, just small little things that differentiate their positions. But anyway, Cole is ranked at number 8, and from a personal perspective, he's one of my favourite originals and overall characters from the show. Cole has an overall laid-back attitude to being a vampire, presenting an arrogance due to the fact he was basically undefeatable and could not be killed. He was very agile, strong, and had a rather lack of respect for the perseverance of human life. He killed mostly without thought, had no emotional attachment to anyone other than his siblings, and that wasn't so tight either. Cole killed when he wanted, without any hesitation or consideration. He was the kind of wild horse of the group, unable to be controlled or guided by Klaus, so in Klaus fashion, he stuck him in a coffin for a few decades until he changed his attitude, which he never actually did. Rebecca follows Cole in at number 7. So Rebecca is a very skilled fighter, and can be ruthless at times from what we've seen. She has similar strengths to her siblings, but Rebecca's biggest downfall in terms of just how powerful she could be is the fact that she resents her existence as a vampire. She doesn't want the life she has, doesn't want immortality, and would trade it all for a human life and the ability to have children. She was easily manipulated and led astray multiple times in the search for love. In saying that, however, that doesn't mean that Rebecca didn't take any sort of vengeance. She was quite notorious for it. She was also under the thumb of Klaus's manipulative tactics about keeping the family together, as they are literally the only ones of their kind, the originals, and it's important for them to stand by each other no matter what. Rebecca is one of those characters that you secretly root for because she genuinely did deserve a happy ending. In at number 6 we have Mikaelson, the original vampire who was responsible for his children becoming vampires, and insisted that his wife angered the spirits by performing the spell, only to then decide that he wanted to kill his children, Klaus in particular, because they are abominations and he'd basically kill every vampire who crossed his path. Because of this, Michael became the most feared vampire hunter in the world, and many questioned why he wanted to kill his own kind so badly. He hunted Klaus and his children for centuries, coming close several times, but never able to get the job done. Michael spent his human life as a fierce Viking warrior, and he applied that skill to his arsenal after he became a vampire. Michael was eventually killed by his son after the latter was on the run for centuries. One-on-one, there's not many who would come even remotely close to defeating Mikael in battle. He's slain hundreds if not thousands of vampires throughout the course of his life. Following on from Mikael, we have Elijah in at number 5, and you just might be asking the question of, how can Elijah be more powerful than his vampire hunter father? Well, to be honest, in terms of raw strength and power, there's really not that much between them. They were both created from the same spell. Elijah is more powerful because he is a survivor. He is a fearless, confident fighter and has been so for the past 1,000 years. He's not afraid to challenge Klaus and completely go against him when he believes it's the right thing to do. Elijah seems to be the only one with morals genuinely in the right place. He's no stranger to combat, as I said, at one point taking on dozens of vampires at once without breaking a sweat. It was actually funny. He becomes the go-to person throughout the original series when things threaten to or end up taking a turn for the worst. He also had a sway with his other siblings, as backing when Klaus decided to lose the plot and go on one of his killing sprees. Elijah definitely deserves his place at number 5. Alaric Saltzman comes in at number 4, and he was turned into an enhanced original by Esther. This gave him more power than the original vampires themselves. Alaric was basically an original killing machine, even more so than Mikael ever was. He was faster, stronger, more agile. I guess the word enhanced explains it clear enough, and it's this power alone that places him at number 4, but he's not higher up on this list for a reason. Alaric's powers were only temporary. Nothing was permanent whatsoever. Alaric's life was tied to his duty. As soon as he completed his task and Esther's plan was successful, he would die afterwards. With that being said, had he somehow managed to remain an enhanced original for a sustained and longer period of time, he would have, at that point, been the most powerful vampire on the planet. Klaus Mikaelson follows at number 3 on this list of the most powerful original vampires, and yeah, if we go back to Alaric being at number 4 and Klaus at number 3, it makes you ask the question again, why is Klaus higher on this list? Well, as I said, Alaric's power is not absolute, it's only temporary, and Klaus is a vampire-werewolf hybrid. He's stronger than his siblings by a large part, but man for man, Alaric would defeat him. However, Alaric's weakness, as I said, is the fact that his powers could be taken away, whereas Klaus's could not. Klaus was a ruthless, cruel, overly aggressive individual and had little to no morals when it came to getting what he wants. Those who go against him usually die, and when it comes to his siblings, he'll dagger them and place them into desiccation until they come round to his ideas. Eventually, this can be a few months, a couple of years, or 900 years in Finn's case. His werewolf side gives him a distinct advantage over his siblings, as I said, in terms of his overall strength, but in terms of overall originals, he is without a doubt the strongest. Which brings us to Lucien at number 2, and the fact that this video is not just the original vampires. Lucien was the first non-original vampire to ever be created by Klaus, and deeply resented him due to how he was treated. Little did Klaus know, Lucien would go on to become the most powerful vampire in existence when he became a permanent enhanced original vampire. His transformation involved a special serum derived from the blood of the original vampires and the venom of the 7 werewolf packs. This potion was then perfected by the witch Freya Mikaelson. The resulting transformation made Lucien far more powerful than any vampire in existence, or even vampire hybrid. He had twice the strength, twice the speed, twice the agility of the originals, and could easily overpower any of them. He was neutralized by Freya and killed by Elijah, but during his time as an enhanced original, there was no stopping him. And so we arrive at number 1 with Marcel Gerard, and I'm sure you probably all have guessed that by now. After Lucien's death, Marcel gets his hands on the serum, and he uses it on himself. After he's killed by Elijah, the serum activates and turns Marcel into an enhanced original vampire. Like Lucien, Marcel is much more powerful than the originals in every way, and none could successfully stand against him, not even combined. His bite was also lethal to them, being able to kill even Klaus himself. Even the white oat stake, although effective, wouldn't impact him as quickly as it would the Mikaelsons. Although effective, wouldn't impact him as much as it would the Mikaelsons. Marcel moved a lot smarter than Lucien did. He had total control of the situation and made sure that any challenge that came his way was sufficiently dealt with. He knew that Klaus would always consider him a threat, even when on good terms. As of recent times in the Originals universe, Marcel still runs the Quarter and is currently the most powerful vampire on the planet. And there you have it, guys. That is my video on ranking all of the Originals from the Vampire Diaries and the Originals series. Let me know what you think in the comment section below.